The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network.
Oh shit! It's Vince Russo!
Vince McMahon's best-kept secret.
I am the Antichrist of professional wrestling.
David Arquette won the world title.
I've got a wife, 3 kids at home, and I really don't need this shit.
How can this show be so awful, Mr. McMahon? I didn't think it was.
Viagra on a pole match.
And Hogan, you big bald son of a bitch, kiss my ass.
Judy Bagwell on a forklift match. McMahon, the family, the Rock, they screwed us all.
Now you're the editor, right?
Mankind did it! Jumpy, beat. Goldberg steered Russo out of the cage.
I'm from New York.
I'll get downright nasty.
This is Vince Russo's The Brand.
This is Jeff Lane. I'm the guy who fills in for Vince Russo so well that I just got a text from his wife asking me to fill in the bedroom later this evening. This is Getting Color. And with me, the star of the show, ready to talk WWE TLC. And he's got an interesting jacket on. Big Vito LaGrasso. What's going on, man?
How you doing, everybody? The Pavarotti of hard shots to the body. The Paisan has got it going on. And the star of the show of Getting Color. We gave Russo the night off. We want to give a shout out to Kenny. I'm home tonight with nothing to do bowling because he's not on the show. And, you know, you mentioned my jacket. Well, I figured Kenny was bragging about merch. You know, this is my merch. WrestleMania jacket because, like, I was there, Kenny. All right. And then I was going in my refrigerator, and then I happened to go for a frosty beverage of Diet Coke, name brand, because we name people on the name show. That's right. We just don't do YouTube. That's because we're not a boob, and we're with the brand, the Russo brand. All right. Oh, Kenny, by the way, you talk about you selling things. I don't sell things here. I just have my own action figure. That's right, Kenny. Is it you? No, we can't fit it in the camera. All right, little fella. I'll talk to you later. Goodbye. All right.
Yeah, it's interesting start there, Vito. WWE TLC. A lot of changes because of an illness going around the locker room. So whatever they had planned for this show obviously did not come to fruition. But we opened the show with Asuka's debut against Emma, who you've been, you know, a big fan of lately with thinking she has the tools. Vince disagrees, which made for a great conversation last week. But what do you think of Asuka's debut here? And do you think Emma did a good job making her look like a big deal?
I got to tell you, people, I thought it was Emma's coming out party because she looked strong. Now, remember, people, okay, I don't watch NXT. I'm not an NXT guy. I'm not going to sit home and watch it. I watch the talent as they come up through the ranks. Now, I know Nakamura had the strong style when he came up to SmackDown. I know a lot of guys, you know, gimmicks are very powerful in NXT. Enzo and Kaz were like over, like, you know, tremendously. A few other guys who came through. Now, this young lady who came up tonight, she's supposed to be undefeated, the most terrorizing, pulverizing figure that ever stepped foot in a squared circle. And I have to tell you, if you were an honest wrestling fan, Emma was the one who looked dominating and strong and charismatic. This girl really didn't do anything to impress me. I am sorry. She just did not. She does have a different look. Pretty face, the hair, the costume, the gimmick. Yes, I get it. As far as the ring, anything she did in the ring, she didn't do anything to stand out tonight. She really didn't. Emma asserted herself as a heel. Emma came with her A game tonight and brought it to the table. I don't care what you say, guys. Emma won tonight's match by using her talent. She didn't have to go over, but she won it tonight on talent. I'm telling you, she's got a future WWE title run in her. You know, everybody talked about Alicia Fox, right? Alicia Fox, she doesn't look like much. She really she wasn't a great wrestler, but she was champion for a reason. They gave her a little run. I could see that for her. And Emma tonight proved she can hang with the big boys. And A1 for her tonight. The other girl, I guess I'm going to have to see her wrestle some more because she really didn't do it for me.
Yeah, I thought it was laid out kind of like a traditional match where the heel gets the heat for the majority of the match and the babyface makes the comeback at the end and gets the win. A lot of times we don't see that with debuting superstars for, their first match or whatever, especially when nobody, everybody knew that Asuka was going over here. So was that surprising to you that they went this route?
No, I mean, they had to put her in there with a strong heel. And I would have expected a little bit more flash, a little pizzazz, a little something on the comeback. But remember, they did this to Nakamura when he was brought up to SmackDown. He had the good entrance like this young lady. He had the notoriety, the strong style, everything going for you that you could possibly have. And then when he got in there, he was selling all over the places like they took away his charisma. And even now you could see that, Nakamura is not an A player. He doesn't have the it factor. This girl they brought up, she just didn't have it. And if you really want to compare things, guys, who was on the opening match tonight? Sasha Banks and Alicia Fox. And Sasha Banks was the next up-and-comer to take over the women's revolution. And where was she tonight? On the outside of the pay-per-view looking in when they were thin. So match is bad. I'm just saying in a nice way that as the hype was brought up for Sasha Banks and being the boss and everything and having that, I mean, look where she is now. And then you have this young lady. She came up and she had all the glitz and glamour. She just she didn't have bang for the buck. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion.
Next, we had Miz and company with a little backstage pre-match talk for the evening. And I feel like this is something that WWE has kind of gotten away from, where they build up more stuff during the actual pay-per-view to the main event. So we see things throughout the night with the participants building that excitement. So not that I'm saying that this was an exciting backstage segment by any means, but I liked at least seeing something with these guys backstage, rather than just having match, end of show.
Now, they got to have some interaction with the people and give them some anticipation. They have to bring something to the table to show the participants. It was a good little segment. It showed Miz being his, me self and how he's for himself. Sheamus and Cesaro were just looking on. Braun Strowman, Kane. I mean, they all came together. They all played their part. It was a good little backstage promo. You can't take away nothing from that. I mean, it just it brought anticipation to the end of the night.
Next was the first of 3 Elias performances, building a very brief angle here to lead to a match with Jason Jordan tonight. I'm guessing, they're laying out the card and they were short, so they needed to add a match, so they did this stuff. And so we have Elias trying to perform, and Jason Jordan comes out and throws produce at him. Thoughts on this?
It was a card filler. They needed to get some time in there. I guess the roster is a lot more thinner than what we think and believe it is. And for AJ Styles to come over and do a match with Finn Balor, and for the guys who were on the show having 3 women's matches and doing these segments, I guess, it needed to be done. It was a card filler. It was nothing great. I mean, as far as an angle, I guess we'll get to that when the match comes. But I mean, the segment was what it was, a card filler.
I just have this, and it may just be me, and I don't know if it was you or Glenn, or somebody may have said something similar in the past, but looking at Jason Jordan, just the way he comes off on screen, I don't know if it's his enunciation of what he's saying or if it's the smirk on his face, but I look at this guy and he just looks like a heel, like that guy you wouldn't like, and I don't think he's coming across well as a babyface. Is that just me?
No, I said it a long time ago. He just doesn't have that believable style when he's in the ring. It shows. He has a great tools. He works too fast, and he's not believable in what he's doing. He rushes so much. He's trying to get a million things in a little bit of time. But you know, I mean, even when like with his promos, he comes off like he's, you know, trying to be cocky. He's not being natural. That's what it is. He's trying to play this character instead of being himself, and that's where he's killing himself. And it's not coming across great.
The next match was a first of 2 cruiserweight matches, and I guess this is an angle they've been playing out on 205 Live. I don't watch that program, but all the pre-match package seemed like it came from 205 Live. And the baby faces went over here. Any thoughts on this match? I don't know what you think about this division as a whole. Was this like a why is this on the card moment, or was it an enjoyable match for you?
This was a wise and on the card moment, and I have to say something. How many super kicks can we throw in one match, guys, from both sides? How many kicks to the head can one person take? If you throw one, it's a finish. Shawn Michaels threw a super kick. In this match, you had 4 or 5 super kicks or kicks to the head. It didn't make sense. And when you look at the psychology of it, what are you accomplishing while you're doing it? There's no other moves in pro wrestling by that. And then when the Englishman does that headbutt, I think it's the most dangerous thing that's going to happen. He is going to crack his head open, or he's going to break somebody's nose on camera. It's going to split. And then that headbutt thing is going to stop. And I just have to tell you, I think it's careless. I think the kicks were just too many. I think they tried to do a lot, too many flips. They tried to be too charactery, you know, like not Kendrick and the Englishman, the other 2 guys. And I just don't dig it. You know what I mean? The cruiserweights. Not that I don't like cruiserweights. Like, I guess because I was spoiled. I have Hoovy. I had Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, Malenko, Benoit. You know, like guys of that era. You know, who were considered cruiserweights but really weren't, but who became bigger and better than what they were. But I guess I was spoiled and I expect other things. But these guys just don't do it for me, and it's just not believable. I'm not digging it.
You mentioned the headbutt there. With all the heat that's been coming down on them for years with concussions and CTE and brain damage and everything they're trying to do to say they are safe now, and they're doing everything to prevent that. Does it not boggle your mind that there's not one person in a prominent position backstage going, wait a minute, why is this guy doing this? Because, I mean, I'll let you touch on this, but just as an observer, to me, it looks like if he even screws this up by an inch or whatever, there could be some serious damage done to either him or the guy he's doing it to.
It's mind-boggling that they're actually letting this go on and that they're using the head, because they eliminated the Benoit diving headboard off the top rope. They eliminated the stomp from Rollins, which was another head trauma possibility. They eliminated headshots with a chair, headshots with a kendo stick. The headbutt, this type of headbutt, it is just reckless. And you know what? It's going to be somebody, they're going to let it go. Oh, it's great. Oh, yeah. Hey, you're doing great. Until somebody gets hurt. And then they're going to say, well, this move is banned and we're not going to use it no more. Hey, guys, the proof is in the pudding. You know, you're going to chance Lady Luck one too many times. And, you know, I'm sorry, but I just think it's dangerous and reckless, and somebody is going to get hurt. As good as the guy thinks he's doing it, when you see it, if the guy on the receiving end just ducks his head a little bit when the guy's coming in, it's broken nose city, and I'm telling you, it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, just a reminder to anybody that if you're listening on Podcast One, you do have the option to get all of these shows on video and get them a day earlier through the Realm Network at russosbrand.com. The members have the option of starting to watch this show on Monday, and they have up to 30 days to stream the show or download it and keep it for themselves. You can do that with all of our shows. Lions, Tigers, Bears, and Disco actually releases 3 days earlier on video. You also get now the only place weekly to get Castrating the Marks is the Realm Network. Every Thursday, that show's still coming out better than ever, so you get that as well. It's only $3.95 a month, and you have no long-term commitments to worry about. You can cancel at any time. Give us a shot, russosbrand.com. Vito, next, we had Charlie backstage with Alexa Bliss and a weird little promo there, I thought. I think Alexa's a good talker, but the whole I like my butt stuff I just thought came off kind of cheesy. I don't know. What did you think of this?
Yeah, kind of cheesy. I mean, it was her typical Alexa Bliss promo. And I think she's a great heel. I think she comes across terrific. I don't think there's anything you can say or criticize her about. She's arrogant. She's cocky. She plays the chicken shit heel. She gets tough when she has to. She kicks ass when she has to. So, I mean, hey, the butt thing, she's got that little bit of swag going on. So, I could see that happening for her. I mean, like I said, she is the best woman they have in the division right now. She's champion. You got to give it a kudos, and you got to, go what's working.
And right after that was the match, and Alexa did go over. They keep the Raw Women's Championship on her over Mickie James. Thoughts on this match?
Well, I could tell you from my notes, I think Alexa Bliss working the arm was very well done. She does very good heel spots. The one thing I saw in the match that I did not like was the Mickie James missing the kick on the comeback, which you plainly saw that she missed it. But the finish was good. I liked the finish. It was a great finish. It was a good back and forth match between the ladies. Mickie James is a hell of a professional. Mistakes happen. Not everybody can point it out or pick it out. But if I don't say it, that means I'm not being truthful. I'm not burying Mickie James. I'm just calling it like I see it. Alexa Bliss is the best women's champion they have. I think she's going to have a long title run. I think you see her going to Mania. I don't know who's going to come out of the woodwork to challenge her, but I could see her carrying it for a little bit longer. And it was a good finish, a good match. I actually thought that Mickie James was going to retire tonight at the end of the match because she was extra emotional. But, I guess it was she knows her time is coming. And, great career, very good wrestler, very nice lady. I happen to know her. And you can't say enough good things about both ladies tonight. They both worked hard.
Yeah, and Mickey's interview there that you mentioned after with Charlie with the crying and stuff, I thought that came off really great. But part of me was sitting there like I was waiting for Alexa to get heat again, and just whoop her after that. Like I don't know. What do you feel they ended that right? Or was that a good spot for somebody to get heat?
Well, it could have been a good spot for her to get heat, and it could have been a passing of the torch. But I think the torch was passed at the finish of that match because you're talking about beating a 6-time champion, talking about somebody who's established in the business, worked during the great era of women's wrestling. And here comes Alexa Bliss, sexy, sassy, a good heel, a good strong worker. And she beat a 6-time champion. So, I mean, I don't think you really needed to go the extra mile to come in and get extra because you don't want to bury her. Just the fact that Mickie James, put the girl over. She lost the match. She got her credibility back by saying some nice words. So the people gave her a hand, which she deserved, and Alexa Bliss won. So it was kind of like overshadowed in a way, and the WWE covered the fact that Mickie James lost the match, but still gave her the promo to cover up the fact that she lost. Alexa Bliss will go on to bigger and better things. I don't see a rematch coming. I could see coming back in the picture. I could see Emma maybe getting finally a title shot or on a program. But as far as anybody definitely going to the next round with Alexa Bliss, it's a toss-up right now.
Next was a little backstage with Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose giving Kurt Angle a tactical vest that the Shield wears. And it seems like it played off well in the house. It got a pretty decent pop. Was this a good idea in your opinion? Instead of making Kurt look different, putting him in that Roman Reigns role and having him look like a team with these guys?
No, the object of it was to be a team, not to be an individual. It wasn't the Kurt Angle comeback hour. It was the Shield versus The Miz and his crew. I think it was a good thing. They all made the same entrance. It was good to see Kurt back in a interviewed role and get that, hey, I'm back in the game. The guy's accepting him, saying it's going to be okay. You're part of the team and accepting him. Let's go out and fight. I thought it was a good interview.
Part 2 of Elias and Jason Jordan just seemed like they did the exact same thing again. I would like to see it a little, maybe some creativity here and not do the produce thing again. Maybe something else. I don't know. That's just me.
I guess if they would you don't know what they could have did. 10,000 things different they could have did. He could have pulled the plug on the guitar, could have pulled the mic. He could have, shut the light, turned the lights on, been backstage with a vignette of him flipping a switch. But they wanted, Jason Jordan to be out there for the crowd to see him and doing that and being cocky and laughing. It kind of made Elias look stupid because the first time you shrug it off, the second time you go after the guy. And, that's just my thinking, so they kind of made Elias look a little stupid. But like I said, this is a filler. They needed time. This is where they had to waste it. And what better way in doing it with two guys who could use the TV time.
Next was the Cruiserweight Championship. Enzo over Kalisto, so he gets the belt back. And we had talked earlier last week about when they took the belt off of Enzo, how I believe we all thought it was a mistake and it's killing his heat and all that stuff. Is this, can they get back to where they were at? Did they do enough today? Or in your opinion, are we still below where he was before he lost to Kalisto?
I said last week that Kalisto was a transition champion. I said they did this on purpose to spite Neville, to stick it to him. That's why they put the title on Kalisto. It was a weak run. I called it last week. I said he's going to get the title. Now, with all due respect, Enzo sounded like he was sick. His voice was a little raspy. Didn't look like he was all that good. Now, Enzo, like I said, he's a great character. He's got a great persona. The one thing I don't like is his wrestling ability. It is below average. It's primitive, as Mike Tyson would say. He's got primitive skills. And that's just the way it is. Not everybody's a great wrestler. Not everybody's a great talker. Not everybody could do great things together. But Enzo clearly just is not working on his craft. I know he goes out there. His stick is good. His outfits are good. His presentation is great. The one thing that stood out with me is when he was thrown outside the ring. Now, Kalisto is not this great mastermind of a wrestler and not a great technician. I just want to put that out there so you can't blame one guy for everything. If you're going to beat a guy and you're going to throw him outside the rope, guys, and you want to inflict pain to do a tope through the middle ropes or over the top, you got to do something on the outside to make him stagger and make him sit there. If you watch it back, you could see Enzo was just thrown outside. Kalisto standing there. Now, Enzo is watching him do this. Any dummy who's sitting there is going to say, why am I going to let this guy hit the rope, dive through the middle, and jump on top of me? Why is he going to let that happen? Guys, it's Wrestling 101. You got to be on the sell. You have to have that sideways vision. You have to have timing. It was terrible. And I cringed when I seen it, and I called it out, and I said it out loud in the living room. This is going to be him looking at a tope. I can't believe I'm watching it. I'm waiting for it just like him. His wrestling skills are just that bad. The match wasn't any good. I said, thank God it's over. Transition champion Kalisto, thank you for coming. You got your 5 minutes of fame. And this is not to bury Kalisto. This is just to show that when you're not ready for those kind of spots, guys, and you don't have that championship pedigree, this is what happens in your match. And if you don't have somebody in the ring with you to carry you through these rough times, that's what kind of match you're going to get. And it looked very amateurish.
In your opinion, do the agents take any of the blame for that, or is that solely on the wrestlers?
The agents can only outline the match and give you the knowledge, but if you're not technically sound to comply with what they say or comprehend it, the thing of it is, I'm going to say this from Johnny Rod's school in Brooklyn, and this is something that was beat into my head, and one of the things I had down pat and 100% on my side as a pro wrestler, timing. You got to have timing. Everything is timing. Everything's got to look crisp. Every spot has got to be on time. You calculate things. You know to sell, know when to stand, know when to sit. It's all timing. These two guys don't have timing. They're running, they're doing, and you can see it with Enzo doing these wind-ups, the field goal kick. The one thing I hate more than anything else, guys, and you guys can do, best way to explain it, when I wrestle in 2s and 3s. It's 2 moves or 3 moves, and I'm thinking 2 moves ahead, because you can't just do 1 move, put your hands up in the air, and say you're great. You have to do 2 moves at a time, 3 moves at a time. Think for your opponent for the next move and come back with something else. This is working on the fly. This has been working in the ring. This is not going over every single aspect of your match in the back. Guys, sometimes things don't go as planned. What do? You have to have the courage. You have to have the poise. You have to have the experience. You have to have the calmness to say, okay, what do I do now? This is going to work. That's where psychology 101 comes in wrestling, and this is the craft you work at. I know you're in front of 20,000, 30,000, but you got to be the coolest cucumber in the building. You got to be the baddest son of a bitch when you're a heel, and you can kick the hell out of everybody in the stadium and the 10,000 that are waiting outside to kick your ass. And if you're a baby face, you got to make every woman and baby cry in there for you to make that heroic comeback. This is what you have to do, guys. This is what's working at your craft. Kalisto doesn't have no mic skills. He's trying to be a Rey Mysterio makeover. Enzo is an original, but he just got to work on his wrestling skills. It's just not there. I'm glad he's the champion. I'm glad they're going to carry. Now I want to see him carry it to WrestleMania, gain some steam, bring up the 205 Live. I think that 1 match on the show is plenty. Let's pick it. Let's use it. Let's have a good analysis of what we're going to use it for, and not use it as filler matches where, like tonight, we had 3 girl matches. No disrespect to them. We had a few cruiserweight matches. No disrespect to them, but it's one too many for the card that we need.
Yeah, and all that stuff that you were laying out there. Another thing like that I think is a lost art in today's product, outside of Brock Lesnar, that is like giving the babyface time to sell. And like for you, I remember like you would pause and look at the camera. You would do like your chops and like your karate looking moves or whatever they were. But at the time, the babyface is still selling your offense. And I believe like the heel is also getting themselves over for the camera at the same time. I like the pacing of that. I always thought was great, and I don't think we see enough of that stuff today.
You don't see it because guys don't have confidence and nobody's telling you. And you can't tell somebody. You have to have swag go out there. And the reason I say this, guys, because like when you're up and coming, now I started out at the bottom. I talk for myself because it's easier for me to explain to all the listeners out there. And it's not about me putting myself over. It's about me explaining the journey on how to be a good wrestler. When I started out in my rookie year, I started out in the WWF. Okay? I was on the bottom. I'm an enhancement guy for all the listeners out there who want to say it. He was a jobber. He was a jobber. But I had the best education learning from Bret Hart, the Legion of Doom, the Big Boss Man, Typhoon, a high energy, British Bulldog. Now, you talk about the guys I just wrestled. Look at all the experience I gained wrestling these guys. And then when you go through, okay, you're a heel, you got to sell for the baby face. Now you're moving through the times where you go to territories and then you start to get over. Then when I was in ECW as a German and I became Vito the Skull LaGrasse and I had a singles run, and then I came out with the robe, the hat. I had that swag that I could whoop everybody's ass in a building. And that's something I carried through my whole career. If you're going to be a good heel, you better be the baddest heel on the planet. You better be able to be better than Mike Tyson's right hand. I had that. When I went to WCW, I added more to it. I was a bad guy. I was tough. I played the camera. I looked at you. I snickered. I did my thing. but I also gave that guy to sell my offense because what that one right hand I gave you, that was a good right hand that'll knock you out. I gave you time to register, to sell it. I brought you back up. I did something else. You always got something back. I was always there to take you down again. Until it was the time for the go home for the babyface to get over. Guys, you have to have that swag when you go out there. Big Vito, Vito the Skull Lagrasso, Skull Von Crush, Vito had that swag. And when it came time for me to be a babyface, and this is something good for a lot of young wrestlers out there and a lot of listeners, in order for you to be a good babyface, you have to be a great heel. And I say that with all due respect to all the guys who are great heels. And when they make that turn, when you're a great heel, you wish that the guys who are babyfaces would sell for you the way you want. So this way it's easier for you to do your stuff. I was always a great heel. So what I would always want the babyfaces to do, I would say, man, I wish if I was a babyface, I'd do this. If I was a babyface, I wish I'd do that. When it was my time to wear the dress and be a babyface, guys, I did everything to sell to the heel strong points and sell to him, sell to the middle of the ring, make the comeback, fight, and be alive. So it worked good because here I am going from one extreme to the other. And a lot of guys don't have time to get that contrast or get that knowledge. And that's something that is very hard to teach. And it comes with practice. Practice makes perfect. And that's how you get it. Guys out there listening who are young heels, you be ruthless. You be aggressive. You do your thing. Take a couple steps back. Give the guy a chance to sell. Don't be afraid to talk to them. Don't be afraid to give your knowledge. If you're a babyface and a heel's beating the hell out of you, what's the way to get over? Sell, baby, sell. When it's your time to get your comeback, that's when you make it. That's when you come alive, and that's when you're a ball of fire. Every heel's got to have 30 seconds in the tank to bump and feed for that guy, and that guy always has to make that babyface looks good, and that's what makes the match and makes it sell. This is what they're missing today because nobody does it in the ring. There's very few and far between.
Next was Finn Balor over AJ Styles, and WWE was in a tough situation here. No fault of their own. Very contagious illness for Bray Wyatt. They were supposed to have the debut of Sister Abigail. So the last-ditch plans here, they got AJ Styles to come in and fill in. So what were your thoughts on this match?
Guys, everybody knows my thoughts on Finn Balor. He does nothing for me. The demon gimmick, guy in paint, it looks very, very indie. When he was outside the ring and he was running to chase AJ Styles, he looked like an indie wrestler doing a guy with face paint. It just didn't look good. The in-ring stuff they do, I mean, yeah, it's good wrestling. Wrestling that's effective for Finn Balor when he's wrestling in AJ Styles. But when Finn Balor wrestles somebody else who's not at that level or not at that par or not a cruiserweight who could wrestle a cruiserweight style match, he's not effective. The demon gimmick, okay, comes out in the paint. What's the difference between Finn Balor and the demon? The demon doesn't sell a little bit too much, but in this match, he had to sell for AJ Styles. And I think that, you know, it was AJ should have went over, in my opinion. I know it's not his show. The better wrestler is AJ Styles. But I just think that Finn Balor, like I said, guys, where does Finn Balor go after this? Where does he go after the Wyatts? Who does he wrestle? Can you put Finn Balor in there with Brock Lesnar? No. Can you put him in there with Kane? No. Can you put him there with Braun Strowman? No. Can you put him in there with Roman Reigns? You did, and it didn't look right. So everybody got the gist of that one. He's a mid-card guy unless he goes to 205 where he could thrive, and that's where he fits in best. Unless he wrestles a guy like AJ Styles, and there's not too many guys who could wrestle like AJ Styles match with this guy. I just, you know, it was a decent match for the people, and the people wanted a lot of indie fans out there who are very, you know, relevant to knowing these guys from Japan, and I think it's the Balor Club and the Bullet Club. So, I mean, for the fans, it was a high. For wrestling industry, it was a, okay. It is what it is, but that's all I got out of the match.
Do you think that was their thinking, that because AJ's on the other show that he could lose clean and not be protected and it's no harm, no foul? Like when you were there with the brand split, was that always like in their mind, like, oh, well, he's on Raw or he's on SmackDown, so if he loses on the other show, it doesn't matter?
Well, I mean, it really doesn't matter, and it matters. I mean, it matters for the guy on his show because if the guy on Raw loses, okay, that means that they could have put somebody else in that spot for him to win. The fact that he beat a credible opponent from the other brand, that makes that push on now on Finn Balor. So what does that say? So that means that Raw owes SmackDown a favor to send the wrestler over there to compete so they can get a victory back, whether it be AJ Styles or not. So now you have to work the brands together. And like I said, you know, they ruined Braun Strowman. He should have been going to SmackDown every week, killing guys. He should have been on Raw killing guys. You got Braun Strowman, who was an animal, who went toe-to-toe with Brock Lesnar. They beat this guy. They made this guy a beast. And look at him. How? I don't care how many choke slams he takes, how many things he goes through, how many things he comes up from. You're beating the guy to hell. What is there going to be left for him to do? He's not going to another title match. So, guys, I mean, that's what I mean. It's like you don't know. It's you either do this and it works, you do that, it works. Raw owes SmackDown a favor. I doubt if it's going to come back to them at the summer. It's what's the next one? Survivor Series.
Yeah,
is coming up. Where Brock Lesnar against Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal's going to get destroyed, and I can bet you everything that Jinder Mahal is not going to win this match. You already see it. You know it. Is Jinder Mahal going to put up a good fight? Yes, because he has the look. He's got the determination. He's got the ability to, but he's not in Brock Lesnar's class. And he's going to, you know, if I was the betting guy and you really want to make this a great extravaganza, hey, guys, put belt for belt up, winner take all the belts, go to WrestleMania, may the best man win. You want to make something? You make it.
Yeah, next was Jason Jordan over Elias. This was kind of like the catch your breath moment for the fans in the arena, as they do sometimes, splitting up their two big matches for the night. Any thoughts on this match?
Jason Jordan, like I said earlier, people, has no timing. He's in a rush. He's trying to do so many things and be so fast that he's not taking his time, like I explained before. Elias is a solid heel. And when Elias is trying to hit this guy and he's not moving, he's not registering. I mean, unless you really got to pound somebody. But if the guy's not selling what the heel's saying, and you could see what I just explained in this match, Elias was trying to get offense on this guy, and he wasn't moving. And here's Jason Jordan picking him up, running to one side, running to the other side, going to the other side, going to the other side, suplex, And then the one time where I noted down, okay, when he went to throw him out of the ring, right, and he just tossed him like he was throwing him into the rope. You can go back and look at it. Elias stepped between the ropes, and he waited for the drop kick. That goes to show you the kid has no timing, and he was just running. Elias was nice enough to stand there and take the drop kick, but if you're going to beat somebody, how about giving him a couple dozen kicks by the rope? How about putting him outside the rope? How about taking a big back up 2 or 3 steps? Do something where you're waving your arms, look at him, give him a point, hit him with the missile drop kick right to the mush. When he threw him to the ropes and Elias stepped through, he came back with a drop kick. I just shook my head. He has no timing. He's in a rush. He's not ready for prime time. That guy is going to be mid-card or lower until he learns his craft. Elias, on the other hand, he's got a good character. He does the guitar. He does the singing. He's a believable heel. I just think he needs to get on a little run, and I think he's off to the races. But the way it looks now, like the rest of the card, they're keeping everybody in the middle and they're not pushing anybody.
We had one final pep talk from The Miz, and he mentions taking the garbage out, which is the lead-in for the garbage truck coming out. And then we have the main event. A lot of things to talk about here, I think. So I just want to ask, like, just looking at Kurt Angle, How do you think he looked?
You really want me to say?
Yeah, of course.
Now, people, we don't bash people here. We tell the truth. Everybody is, everybody can look at an opinion. Everybody can hear an opinion. Everybody can see what it is. When you haven't wrestled in over a year or 2 years, you don't go back in and you don't be the same wrestler that you were. You could work out in the gym. You can keep your body in shape. But being that wrestling machine, you just don't, it's not the same. You're not the same guy. And watching Kurt Angle when he came out, he was a guy who looked like he hadn't wrestled in a while. He looked lost at times. He looked bewildered. He was waiting and watching and selling, and he really wasn't doing much. His timing was off, but he just looked like a guy who hadn't wrestled and didn't belong in the ring.
Let me ask you this: would it affect him at all, or is this a non-issue where his normal wrestling attire, obviously, the singlet and stuff, and now he's wearing a vest and cargo pants? Is that an issue for wrestlers if they have a big change like that in their gear?
No, I mean, you can cover up a body. You can't cover up wrestling skills. I mean, it's like putting a suit of armor on a swordsman. And there's a swordsman who can have all the skills in the world, but if you don't know how to defend yourself, not even the armor is going to help you. Guys, it is what it is. Kurt Angle was a fill-in. He wasn't supposed to wrestle. He went out there. He did the best he could. He did it. He did the best job he could do. Was he rusty? Was his timing off? Was he, out there? Was he trying to do things? Yes. Was the match a cluster? Yes. But you're asking about Kurt Angle's performance. He just looked like a guy who didn't belong there tonight. If you're going to start out wrestling again, start out on the bottom. I know WWE was in a pinch. No hurt, no foul, no harm to them. They had to plug a hole. They plugged it with an Olympic champion. It wasn't as bad as you think, but looking at it from where you're looking at it like me, Rusty looked out of place. He felt out of place. And it took him a while to warm up. And I think repetition is key. Like I said, guys, you can't stay out of the ring that long and go back and be yourself. It doesn't work.
Overall, with this match, I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on. We had Angle out, we had Angle back, we had the announce table spots, we had the garbage truck, we had the spot with Kane and Strowman, and then the chairs coming down. How do you feel overall with the way this match played out? And do you think this was entertaining, or do you think it was too much?
Guys, that was a lot of stuff they tried to shove down your throat. And remember, TLC, there should have been more TLC matches, guys. This is the first one I watched where the main event was the only TLC match. And it seems like they saved every spot of everything to do everything for the last match. You can only go through so many tables. You can only take so many chair shots. You can only take so many choke slams, suplexes, and, be out there and doing your thing. But for the amount of guys they had in there, how many times can the Shield come back from being beat down 2 and 3 guys when you're, fighting 5 guys? I called on Twitter tonight. I called the Kane turn. I called it. I tweeted it before, and I said Kane's going to turn, and there's going to be something going on. Well, what it was is Kane turned, and it turned Braun Strowman babyface. Now, whether that's a good thing or bad thing, I think they killed their monster. Now, Braun Strowman is going to be a babyface. So what do you guys think about that? That's going to be like, I don't know, unless they think Roman Reigns is going to be out for a while, which is my thinking now. If Roman Reigns is going to be out for a while and the Shield needs a new partner, who are they going to get? Braun Strowman. You heard it here first on Getting Color. Guys, there's a lot of stuff that happened tonight. I thought the match was too long, too many high spots. 2 tables that did not break tonight, if you noticed. Why? Could have been in a rush, could have slipped, didn't put him through it. When you put somebody through a table, guys, you got to make it count. Be safe, make it count. Obviously, it didn't happen, and when the table broke, you could see Ambrose laughing in the ring. I'm sure that the office didn't like that, not one bit. And if you're a fan, you say, why is he laughing if he just went through a table? Well, it's not funny. And if you're trying to do a table spot, you got to have somebody doing it. Now, Strowman threw Ambrose through the table and made sure he went through it. But when Kane tried to choke slam him on the ramp, and that didn't break. Okay, who are we going to blame? The guy giving it or the guy taking it? One time, okay, excuse me. Second time, excuse you. The third time, okay, somebody messed up. So thank God we didn't have a third spot. The garbage truck, throwing somebody in a garbage truck to keep him out. All right, it's different. I honestly thought Kurt Angle was going to come out and spray everybody with milk. That was my thinking, that there was going to be a milk thing on top. That would have definitely stole the show. But I just think the physicality of what they tried to bring was too much to absorb, and I tried to get too much stuff in. Jeff, what did you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, the stuff that you just mentioned, I had a couple questions on that. The tables and with Ambrose, I don't know if you noticed this, but it looked like to me when Kane did the double choke slam spot with Rollins and Ambrose through the tables by the stage, it looked like Ambrose like whiplash in his his neck went back and the back of his head smashed on that table. I don't know. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw it.
I mean, like when that happens, I mean, is it who? Because obviously that shouldn't happen. So who do you think's like what causes that when? Because I mean, you're not supposed to hit the back of your head.
Well, you got to tuck your head, and you're always supposed to protect yourself and tuck your head on stuff like that. And if you're not getting enough height to break the table in the middle, that's another concern. I mean, instead of buying the $29 tables, they should have bought the $19 tables because the tables would have broke a little easier. But it's hard, if you ever never went through tables, people, it's not a fun thing. It's not an easy thing. If you ever watch somebody catch the back of their head, I will give you, for instance, when the Dudley boys threw Spike Dudley over the top rope that one time during the Attitude Era, and he hit the back of his head on the table. I'm sure everybody remembers that. All the time, Rob Van Dam hit the back of his head on the table during a table spot. That's not fun, guys. And when you're going through a table, everybody says, oh, I could take that. Well, you ever go through a table before, especially from great heights? It's not very fun. It's not a good feeling. My first time I went through a table was when I wrestled Sid at ECW, and he choke slammed me over the top rope through a table. Now, I had never been choke slammed over the top rope before. I had never been choke slammed through a table before. This was all new. It was exciting and new. I'll put it that way. Had a great feeling towards it. Scary as hell when you're going over backwards over the top rope backwards, and then going through the table on top of it. That's just like when I wrestled Sabu at the ECW arena, and he put the ladder across the ring apron and the guardrail, and I laid on top of it, and you're going through it. There is no give in that guardrail and on that ring. That's solid. And he came through. When he went through, I went through. And guys, when you're putting guys through tables, got to be safe. You got to pick them up as high as you can and plant them in the middle. If you go into the side, it's not going to break. If you go into the front of the table, it's not going to break. You got to be precise. You have to have timing. It's got to be on the money for it to go. And tonight, 2 times, it wasn't on the money. It showed the laughing part, not cool. But, Jeff, I mean, I know for you I don't think you've ever wrestled before. Have you, Jeff?
No, I've never been in the ring. Anything I've ever done is just on the creative side.
So creative side. So like you being creative, and I'm sure, you tell the guys to protect themselves, and something like that comes along. You say, okay, a table spot, I'm not crazy about. Chair shots, pretty risky. And even the chair shots, guys, you look at the chair shots out there. When you're getting smacked on the back with a chair and you hit a flush, that's metal to skin. Your back is solid, but that chair is solid. And if you're getting hit 5 and 6 and 7 times, it stings a little bit. So it's not a fun place and it's not a fun thing. I don't suggest you do this at home with your wife, but, it's not an easy thing to do, guys. It really isn't. I just think that it could be a little bit more safer if the guys are going to do these spots. If you're going to put them through, you put them through. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, and the second thing you mentioned was the garbage truck spot with Strowman, and I'm watching this, and I had a major issue with this. I don't know if the normal person watching it would even care or notice something like this, but they put Strowman into the back of the truck, but then they have that random jabroni driver hit the switch that, crushes Strowman into there. And I'm like, if Strowman doesn't absolutely murder this random guy on Raw, they're killing him by having this guy throw the switch and not like Cesaro or Sheamus or somebody like that. I mean, am I wrong?
The guy looked like, as we said this past week, a Jadrol. He looked like a dummy. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. He was standing there with this dumb look on his face like, oh, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to do this? How's it going, guys? I'm Rocky Balboa. Guys, it was terrible. And you know what? As much as a garbage spot could be safe, where the guys, you hit the button, it goes, that's as dangerous as it could be because you could lose your arm. The machine can break. There could be something going on inside. If you don't have somebody who's a professional doing it, it can be bad. Putting somebody in a garbage truck, put them in a dumpster, be a lot safer, Guys, I just, like you said, dangerous spot for somebody not doing it and somebody not hitting the button. I think it was too many things going on for everybody to realize, okay, we got to do this. We got to do this. And you could see them going back and forth like, okay, we got to get all 100 spots in and we're going to do 105 spots. And that's the way it was taken. And that's the way it was perceived tonight.
Any final thoughts on the TLC show?
Guys, for all the fans out there and for all the listeners and for all the people who are future bookers and everybody wants to get into business, when you rate this pay-per-view, it's a pay-per-view that was made up on the run because of sickness and ailments. I think for a TLC pay-per-view, it didn't have the flavor of too many TLC matches. Tonight's card had a lot of filler matches, a lot of matches that you wouldn't see on a regular pay-per-view. We never see 3 girls matches. We never see 2 or 3 cruiserweight matches, 2 cruiserweight matches, I'm sorry. The one match where it was a cross-promotion match is never seen with AJ and Finn Balor. You had the one filler match there with Jason Jordan, and you had it with what's his name? Elias. And then you had the pre-show match, where you had the girls, Alicia Fox and Sasha Banks. So the card definitely wasn't stacked. It definitely lacked tonight because of the participants that weren't in there. A for effort for trying to, take care of your people. And by the way, people, when you talk about meningitis, like I said it on Twitter a couple days ago, when somebody asked me, what did you think about the meningitis? I had spinal meningitis as a child. I almost died from it. It's a very rare disease that you get. And you got to be incubated, put in a bubble. You're very contagious. It can kill you. So them taking these guys off the road and taking precautionary measures, kudos to the WWE for looking out for their guys during this epidemic. The show tonight, I would give it a D+, maybe a C, but nothing higher than that because it really didn't fulfill anything. The one person who stood out tonight, okay, I would say is Emma. because she had a great heel match. Alexa Bliss retained her title in a good match with Mickie James. I thought that everybody anticipating the Kurt Angle return, they got to see Kurt Angle wrestle. Whether he was good or bad, they just got to see Kurt Angle wrestle. I think that turning Braun Strowman babyface at this time, I just think the WWE is stranded on what to do with this guy. And you might be looking at the next Intercontinental Champion when he fights The Miz. I could also see Kurt Angle, if he's going to stay wrestling, teaming with Jason Jordan, going for the tag team titles, and then doing a Sabisco San Martino angle with Kurt Angle and Jason Jordan, and where the father and son get into it, where the son can't compete with the father, and the father's got to teach him a lesson. So there's a lot to take out of it. If you're looking at it in a wrestling perspective, you can make some good angles out of this for the next pay-per-view. You could lead up to WrestleMania with this. But knowing that how the WWE books these days, I doubt if you'll see any of those ideas. And if they do see these ideas, you're very welcome for listening to our show, Getting Color. And I didn't get paid. And it was all a good thing. It's just wrestling knowledge, guys, and having the experience to call it like I see it and to give you my perspective. That's the way it's going.
All right, Vito, let everybody know where they can follow you throughout the week and keep up with everything you're doing.
Well, everybody knows I'm not going to be on the Boland's Alley because he doesn't want to share the spotlight. He doesn't have Diet Coke, our leading sponsor. Also, Kenny Boland doesn't have action figures. Kenny Boland, we have an action figure. We actually fit on camera. And then for Collar and Elbow, that's a nice company. But when you got WrestleMania jackets, because you've been there, done that, you signed a contract. You're not waiting on the outside trying to get in. You've been on the inside and you've been out, and you got things happening. I know, Kenny. You bust the brown haircut. You hate me. You can't stand me. Everybody looking on Twitter. What are they fighting about next, Bowinkle? Listen, Kenny, I like you. All right? Go see your dentist. Eat some carrots. Do something with yourself. I know you're having the bowling alley tomorrow, okay? But I got things to do, Kenny. I can't call in for you. I can't give you a show the pop. Kenny, I'm just too busy. All right, look, he's texting me right now. Ding, 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 ding. Bowling, he's too much. Anyway, now everybody, I like Kenny Bowling. He's a nice guy. He's a good man. We have fun here. He doesn't have any shows on the network, but I have 3. So it's good. He's on YouTube. I'm on the WWE network for $9.99. I don't get any royalties from it, but you can go there and watch my stuff. So where are we going to find Vito this week? Well, I might be doing the Raw review tomorrow with our vacationing host, Vince Russo. We'll wait and see what happens. On Tuesday nights, guys, we're doing the Facebook Live where I'm back. The wife is feeling better, so we're going to do Facebook Q&A at 7 p.m. If you want to follow Big Vito on YouTube, you can follow him at the Big Vito brand. Subscribe is free. If you're going to go on Twitter, we greatly appreciate your following and adding some followers. Just hit the follow button. It doesn't cost you nothing. If you're looking for merchandise, where we get T-shirts, it's prowrestlingtees.com/the Big Vito brand. We also have LinkedIn at the Big Vito brand, Facebook at the Big Vito brand. Guys, and if you need to email me or you'd like to book me for a seminar, for a autograph signing, if you'd like to sign me for make an appearance, motivational speaking, to do your wedding, you can email me at bigvito@bigvito.com. We also have the website, bigvito.com. Guys, check it out. There's always something good there. And, of course, we're doing the #1 rated show on the network for the Real Network and Podcast One, Getting Color. It's Big Vito, Vince Russo, Jeff Lane, right here. Live, baby, live. That's what we're doing. I know Jeff has a bunch of plugs to put in And to cover up for Vince's lack of not being here, he knew the ratings wouldn't go down. They're always going to stay up. And when Boland's not here, the ratings are really up.
Yes, and Vince Russo will be back tomorrow, as Vito said. But I'm Jeff Lane. You can follow me at Jeff Lane 22. Thanks for joining us again, everybody. Hope you enjoyed TLC. Wouldn't want you to waste 3 hours watching the show. But thanks for listening to us. For Getting Color and Big Vito, I'm Jeff Lane. Have a good one.